Welcome to today's Amanita series. Today we'll be discussing a former lepidilla, now placed in section Strobiliformis, we know as Amanita cinereopannosa, the ragged veil lepidilla. So the common name we do refer as a lepidilla. This is no longer in section lepidilla. We place it in section Strobiliformis now. The mushroom is the same, we just classify it a little bit differently. So let's dive into some characteristics here. Now, here we can see this tall, clubby mushroom. And we can see here the size is very big. Here's my hand for comparison. These are very hardy mushrooms. These are buttons here, by the way. Now, one thing we can see from the distance with the eye is the gray pyramidal warts that develop on the cap. Which is characteristic to that section in particular. A memo here on size, my knife handle is about 4 inches long. It's buried in the ground, and these are digging even further than that. So remember, these are buttons. These mushrooms can get very, very big. So with all Amanita, we really want to look at the whole mushroom, which involves excavating the base. Now, as we're excavating, we note the material, those warts, the velar material, the universal veil, which occurs on the mushroom. Note how easily it is to fall off the cap that I'm scraping. So we've noticed at the base as we're digging, we see all these pieces of material on the ground because they just happen to fall off very easily. So digging her out of the ground, we can see she has a somewhat rooting base that goes in, which is characteristic to these X-leps. And here we have this ring of material that's left. So as the mushroom grows from its egg form in the ground, it pops up and sometimes it just drops material down. And then on this Amanita cinereopannosa, we notice that the fibrils going up the stem are also gray, all the way to the universal veil, which covers the cap on the top. And we can see the pellicle underneath. It has a white citrine tone to it. And here we're taking a look at where the margin of the cap meets the stem and where the skirt should be, whether it decides to maintain one or not. Sometimes it can give the appearance with one, just with the material. But noting the ragged veiledness, you can see here lightly on this button that the material is hanging and drooping off the margin of the cap. We call this appendiculate. It has appendages that hang off, and kind of ragged veils that kind of stay there. And as this grows out, those materials will stay on the margin of the cap and flow down due to gravity. Now, one thing I'm doing here is I'm checking aroma. Now, Amanita cinereopannosa is described as smelling similar to Bisquick, the pancake mix. When you mix that up before you cook them and you got the batter ready, it has this unique aroma to it, which is very similar to Amanita cinereopannosa. Oh, and note, even on my hand here, you saw those warts that fall off. So this one, growing right next to it, we see the same. And we can see these little spurts of growth where it decided to drop these rings of material closer to the base. Just to show you that. And then also with the stem, I'm smelling this one here. And these are too young for the Bisquick aroma, but those will develop in maturity. Note the stem on these, they're gray, very similar to the universal veil on the cap. And do note the size of these things. These things almost look like a weapon, especially when they have the spiky pyramidal warts. It's a medieval club of sorts. So I'm not sure what else I have for ID characteristics, so this is Amanita cinereopannosa. I hope you enjoyed.